it's going? Is it just city residents? Should we hear first?
I'm just giving it a couple minutes for Damani and Doreen's making some more copies.
Is it just city residents? Should we hear first?
I'm just giving it a couple minutes for Damani and Doreen's making some more copies.
Just city residents?
I'm just giving it a couple minutes for Damani and Doreen's making some more copies. This is Carl Williams. Carl Williams. Did I take the wrong folder? This is Carl Williams. Thanks, Doreen.
I think that's the Thursday.
I think I'm fine first.
Okay, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I just didn't know, I know you said one.
Wait, oh, great.
Tomorrow.
Oh, sorry, what Thursday?
Does anybody mind if we wait one more minute? Just in case Damani calls.
I do.
So you'll just have 30.
Okay, have time to get part 7.
Okay, we'll start then. We'll start.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry about the noise, so I'll try to talk loud.
I can turn that off, I just turn it back.
That feels
I know,
good.
it's just so hot. I'd rather have it on. Actually, last week I thought I was gonna die in here, or whenever that was, 2 weeks ago. So it was great that the pool opened when it opened. It was in the middle of like a heat wave.
Sorry, call the people.
Oh, I'd like to call Health and Recreation Committee to order. Thank you very much for being here. Josh, are you taking minutes? Excellent. So Doreen and I are on the committee, and John is a additional city council member, and we have 3 staff people. So thank you very much. I'm glad you're taking minutes. So the pool opened at the end of June, and it was in the middle of a heat wave, and thank goodness that it opened when it opened. That was a very good decision, and I appreciate that. I was away on vacation, sitting by the pool at that time. What I've done, however, I had been looking at a bunch of rules prior to the pool open. We have some rules posted at the pool, and Paul can talk to us a little bit about that. He and I both have photos of that if you haven't been up there. But there's only a few rules that are listed on that sign at the new pool right now. It's something like no firearms or knives, no alcohol,
And no coolers.
no coolers. So I think there's some other things that we might want to consider as you look through these. Then the other piece are fees. And you'll see as you look through these that varies as well. I'm kind of, obviously, my opinion is that I think that the pool should be free to residents. I'm not so sure that the pool should be free to non-residents. And there's even the possibility that we can talk about whether non-residents can use the pool. I mean, we've had very long lines for the most part. So you'll see that some of the pools, as you look through this, don't allow non-residents. I'm not sure if we want to do that. I'm sorry about the Troy one is very minor. The pools in Troy right now are not even open, is my understanding from looking at their website because of COVID. Because of the rise in COVID, they've actually shut down some of their, at least that's what it says on their website. I didn't call anyone at any of these places. So what you have is Albany, Troy, Mohawk River Park and Pool, I can't remember if that's Scotia or Glenville, Niskayuna, Colony, Guilderland, and that's it. That's as far as I went, in looking at these. I didn't think we needed more than this. I mean, I have concern around, I'm definitely concerned about fecal matter in the pool, so that has to do with, kinds of diapers that kids go on. There's an overarching thing, which is, again, we have young people that are our lifeguards. So in terms of enforcing, it might be difficult for them to enforce some of this stuff. So we really have to think this through. But Paul, did you want to share some of the things that you've been
the
observing
pools
and hearing?
Lifeguards do a great job, boys and girls club does do a very good job. When it comes to trying to obey the rules, when I went there this afternoon, there was one altercation. Sometimes kids just don't like to obey authority, and it's tough because lifeguards are just lifeguards. They're in their bathing suit, they don't really feel they have authority. They try, but they don't work out. The police officer that's there come in and talk to them, and then there's a little bit of a shouting match because the kid got on food, and of course the mother came over and got very mouthy to the police officer, and then it calmed down, but they were trying to do something at the deep end, and when youth kept jumping in, they went around the pool. I think it's, you're gonna have the same things at all the pools. There's gonna be some youth that just are gonna wanna buck the roll a little bit. Overall, they're doing good. One thing that I hear a lot is on the real hot days when there was a line, people couldn't get it. And that's unfortunate, but we do have a low limit in the pool as for
Yep.
people. So sometimes there is a little bit of a wait to get into the pool. And the people who were upset the most were residents, because they feel they had to wait. They don't know who's in there, and for non-residents, they're waiting. So those are decisions that the council would have to decide on whether or not, like you said, you restrict it to just city residents and charge a fee.
Do you know about what the average wait time is? I mean, I've seen times like that multiple days. I'm thinking, nobody's been on the
Well,
pool.
like today, there was no wait time. The weather's cooling off now. It's not like it was 2 weeks ago when we were 90, humidity was, everybody wanted to get in the pool, and it was the new factor.
That's right.
Everybody wanted to go to the pool.
That's
And
right.
everything we hear about the pool, everybody loves it.
Yes, it's gorgeous.
It's just, the number of people we can allow in a very hot day, and that's the sense of the pool.
So I was wondering about that in terms of the 400 person limit and somebody, so is it the two people that are at the front desk there that if somebody leaves, how do they,
Yeah,
how
they
are
have
they?
a counter, and they actually have to give an ID and sign in, so we know who's in the pool.
Oh, yes, the sign, I saw that.
If one or two come out and they're leaving, then two in the line can go in.
What if someone's not swimming, it's all capacity 400, whether they're in the pool or not?
It's hard, because there are some people who are in there that they're not swimming, they're there with your children and they're fully dressed. They're there because you have to have an adult on the deck, and there's some, dads and moms that are just standing there watching their kids swim. And we know they're not in the pool.
But they still count as.
I'd have to check on how we're doing it. And it's more for,
I understand it's the number of lifeguards
Or-
based on the number of people inside the fence. So if you're standing there, suit and tie, you could jump in the pool. Not likely to happen. Councilman Woodburn and I have thought about it. We can do it. That's what
But that is a good point, because I've thought about just going over with a chair and a book, but,
we have to sit outside.
yeah, it's true.
and the 400 is for safety, because that pool is different with the walls. So lifeguards have to be all on the pool so they can see, if somebody is against the wall and struggling. Where the old pool, just the visibility was a lot different because there's no wall,
Right.
so you could see. So the 400 is the limit for safety.
So let me ask you something, with the old pool, were there rules like this at all? And also at Quackenbush, at Front
Yeah,
Street,
I mean,
do they have this, obviously they're probably not getting 400 people,
No.
but, basically the rules would be the
right, the health
same.
department's rules are the same about defecating, urinating, and having a, swimming diaper. But you can't watch everybody when they're undressing their children. And when you see it, you go over and say something. And we only had to shut the pool down a couple of times because of an accident.
The new pool.
Yeah, but it's short term, it's an hour, you get it super chlorinated. In the little pool, it's even quicker because there's a lot less water there. It can be cleaned and.
So when you kind of had to shut down the pool, and I'm sorry, I'm just learning, today too, but, when you,
Everybody leaves.
they have to leave the
They
area,
have to completely
vacate the
leave.
area?
And that's where it gets a little bit, a little more difficult with lifeguards, because now you gotta get everybody out of the pool. And, they have to go outside and wait until the pool gets cleaned up. And they gotta wait that hour until the chlorine level comes out, and it's sanitized.
So meanwhile, they let everybody just hang in, really. If
Yep.
parents drop their kids off, they don't have no kids on a cell phone, you can call, but it still creates a mob scene.
They're, at a
Outside.
certain age, they have to have the parent with them on the deck
Right.
at all times.
I just want to pull up my photo, but, because I think there's only like 3 or 4 rules posted, right? on
Yeah,
that
there's
sign?
2 signs that are, one on the front and back, that are the blue and white signs, it says warning. Tells you 2 or more adults, 18 years or older, and, no diving, no this. And then the one on the back is the pool rules, once you're inside, and, it's pool hours, the adult lap swim hours,
Yeah.
capacity 400 people, subject to change with the aquatic director's discretion. Waiting times, 30-minute wait after the last slight sound of a storm, and then there's a 60-minute wait time to allow for biological, like I said, for an hour. If come out of the pool, if there's biological issue. No alcohol, no glass, no coolers, no knives, no firearms.
Is that sign inside the pool area?
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've seen that sign, so,
This one is inside.
okay, so there's actually a little bit more
Yeah, and then
on that
there's-
than on the one outside.
And then there's a life-saving one that has to be posted for the 911. And then they have a lot of, paper rules, like when the, visitors come in. When they come in, they sort of check in, you have to sign, you have to show the ID.
Right.
There's a lot of paper rules. I didn't grab pictures of that because there's a lot of kids all around. So. But I do know that, I did talk to Julie. What we'll do in the next couple of days is get something to go on, because realize that we don't have our rules on our website. So, we should at least get what's posted on our website.
Mhm. I actually, and I'm sorry about this, I haven't seen that sign inside the pool, so there actually were probably more rules than I actually saw on that sign that was outside the pool area, which is as far as I've been there and I've been in to talk to the people at the front desk, but I haven't actually, I walked in, obviously.
And they have some, like I said, there's some paper, notices or signs, when they come in. So it's a little bit of a learning curve from
Oh, yeah.
what we
I mean, it's
had, from the big Central Park pool.
Right. So at the other pools, are there rules posted as well?
There should be, there used to be, now kids have a tendency of ripping them down or ripping the fence open, as they did in Front Street Pool. They cut the fence open a couple of times, we got in and did a little swimming, and actually one day we had to, PD was there, fire department was there, so we're in the ambulance, and they had to take 2 individuals by ambulance to the hospital. Too much vodka and orange juice, too much heat, and you shouldn't swim when you're like that.
None of us, yep.
So
Mhm.
you transferred to the hospital. And
Boy.
they had snuck in, they weren't kids, they were adults.
And obviously, there's no fees at those pools, at any of our other pools. So and that's also the other piece of this is, when we have rules, would they hold true for all the pools?
I would think.
I would think that would be,
That's,
I would
That's
say
what
yes,
that's the
but,
decision here.
It's gotta be around the board, I think.
yeah, I think it has to be the same at all the pools. The hours, are they consistent at all the pools?
No, the only pool open on weekend is Central Park.
Okay. But that's the only difference among the pools right
Right
now?
No, they have a lap, because of the lap and the
well, yeah.
resistance, the hours are a little bit different. different, and they also give the swimming lessons at Central Park, because they always did that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so those hours are a little different at Central Park for the swimming lessons and the, used to think of adults going for the lap pool, but there's a lot of younger people that go in early in the morning, and they're using the lap pool for exercise and the resistance walk area, so those hours are different because of that.
I mean, I'm okay with those, I mean, obviously the hours being different because that is a different.
Has a different facility, different.
Right. So,
Is it noon to 6, general?
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah,
That must be
And then the
across.
lap stuff is earlier in the morning,
yeah.
Yes, noon to 6 is fine.
John.
Do we track the visitors in who are using it on a daily basis, where they're coming from?
Yeah, I would imagine because they have to show their ID and they keep it, I don't know if they record everything, but Boys and Girls Club, I can check tomorrow morning and see if they actually keep the sheets. Usually it's a daily thing, you show an ID just in case somebody was to get hurt, at least they have a photo of them and they know.
Is it something that you can present to the council, like a report to say, 1 week out, how many
They should,
residents?
they probably they're collecting zip codes where the people are from, so it's not an exact
It's not,
address.
these ones, oh, zip
I can
code.
see what they have.
Yeah. The reason why I asked, we want to see because we're talking about fee for non-resident and not maybe resident, a fee, or no fee for resident. So you want to see how many usage from out of town.
Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
key question.
Something just for us to kind of like look at and say, yeah, we have a few hundred people per week from out of town is using this pool.
I guess, how do people feel about, I think it's Niskuna, let me just take a quick look here again. I'm pretty sure that Niskuna does not allow,
They're resident only.
they're resident only. So that's also, I mean, I think we have to make a decision about that. We don't have to make a decision about any of this, but I just, that's something that it seems to me, I completely agree with Paul, that the newness is, has lent itself to some of the length of the lines. But at the same time, it's a beautiful new pool, and it's only gonna get, not that I'm a scientist, but it seems to me that our summers are going to be hotter and hotter, moving forward.
Can we give preference to our residents? Because there have been some complaint that people joining the line, they can't get in, they have to, non-residents are getting in.
We don't even know if that's true though.
Yeah, but that's,
at this
I'm
point.
just, yeah, I'm saying,
I mean-
we can look at the report and see
Right.
how many. Well,
Right.
that's something we should consider is the preference, so resident to use it, and non-resident should be,
Well, non-residents without a resident with them, as far as, just say me and I bring my granddaughter who's a resident here, but I'm not a resident here. So I think once we get some zip codes and find out exactly who's going there, right? I mean, you wanna bring your grandkids and,
That's a
You know.
good point, the grandkids could be out of town,
or
or vice versa. Well, yeah, probably it's the adult that's the resident,
Right.
but the grandkids could be visiting, or you could have any relative coming to town to visit you, and how do you get them into the pool? So that's another consideration.
Right.
And then the other piece is even the ID. I mean, I think, Gary, did you mention at our last meeting that, in the past, school IDs have been used?
Correct, what I'm being told though is the school district collected the IDs at the end of the year and reissues them in September, so I don't know to what degree that is a
'Cause that's the,
functional component of the attendance.
I've been over there many times and just a joy of seeing these 12, 13, 15, 16-year-old kids with towels and bathing suits and walking home and walking
Yeah.
over to the park and coming and going. And so that's why I'd like to know who's, what's the zip code is pretty important. I think most of them are residents, but.
the zip code though, even like when I think about our zip code, it's the same zip code for Niskuna.
Right.
I mean, so the zip code isn't necessarily going to tell us the full story, but it is a starting point at least. do we have any, what's the word I'm looking for? Reciprocal agreements with any of the other, like with Niskuna or with, yeah.
And this Niskuna is all, you have to drive there. I mean, I can't imagine anybody living up there, a couple of homes. You know, so they might have a little bit more control over.
We definitely have kids, as you said, walking,
Oh,
I see them
yeah.
all the time, walking to our pool, which is great. It's really
I know.
exciting, and certainly the other, like if you go up to,
Right. Front Street.
yeah, I mean, definitely, I think our folks are often walking to the pools. I mean, you can see in terms of the fees that, most of them have a different structure for, it would be like kids under a certain age get in free. Seniors might have a different, or actually, like, for example, I'm looking at Niskuna right now, their seniors are free.
I like all residents free.
Yeah, I do too.
So I guess it would just come down to non-residents at this point. 'Cause I think we're not doing anything.
So,
I don't know, I don't think, you know. They were never charged for years over at Front Street or Hillhurst or anywhere, right?
Well, I think too, you know, the cost to operate your pools, maintain the pools, they don't go down, they keep going
No.
up every year, the repairs, I mean, you have Front Street and Black and Bush are, they need more repairs.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, if you're looking to try and offset some costs, then you have to look at a way of doing it through revenue, and the only way to do revenue is, you know, do a fee.
Right.
If you don't want to do a fee, we have, the city's gonna know if they're gonna incur these costs going forward. Chemicals gonna go up.
yep, every year, I think, right?
Just the cost of maintaining it, that pool is very large, it's gotta be vacuumed. There's staff there on a regular basis every morning, even though the vacuums are robotic ones. We can't do them in at night because someone will take them. Unfortunately, someone will take them. They cost us, I think, a little over $3,000,
The bottom side.
$3,000. Per unit, and we were trying to track the one down because we ordered two, but only one came, so purchasing is trying to track down what happened. We didn't pay for the second one, but, you know, where it went, or it just got missed, or it's just, you know, back ordered, but, so we have staff that goes up there early in the morning, they have to check the water, make sure it's, meets the requirements of the health department before it can even open, and the adjustment, so, and that's being done about pools, so those costs go up every year because salaries and benefits go up every year, chemicals go up every year, electricity goes up every year. You know, water we put in the pool goes up every year, through our budgets, we see that. So, it's just something whether or not we, you know, for the residents, and we just incur the costs and that's it. And
Well, I mean, again, I do feel it's middle of July, right? I mean, right, or end of July now, I guess, it's the end of July, I mean, next week is August 1st. I mean, I think anything that we're talking about probably wouldn't go into effect until
next year.
the summer of 2025. I mean, I just wanted to get the ball rolling here. But we would have to know kind of what we want to do in terms of getting ready for budget. Because, as you said, I mean, I know you'll be presenting a budget that has these increased costs. You know, when you talk about the staff that is going in early and, you know,
That's our
doing the
staff.
backing, that's, I know,
That's our staff.
that's not young people.
No, those are, you know, our staff from the wastewater treatment plant because they're certified to do you have to be certified to do the chlorine residual. And because they're already operators, whether they're water, operators or wastewater, they're certified to do certain tests so they can come in, or we'd have to train the park staff. And wastewater, we do have people that are on at night, and it's very morning, I think we get there early rather than having somebody start at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
It's not being able to.
You know, and we have to look at, I think this was a learning curve for Boys and Girls Club too, so whether or not, you know, based on their experience after the first season with the new pool, what will they require next year, and will their fee go up, the fees for services there, so.
And we can get that, I mean, again, this is just a preliminary discussion to try to start the ball rolling, but obviously that'll be something that'll play into, I'm sure you'll get that from the Boys and Girls Club while you're doing.
Well, yeah,
Budget.
so I know what the fee is for this year, they're charging, okay, it's in the budget. It's just, after they get to, after the season's over, end of August, I can reach out to Shane and say, based on the first year, what do we think this year? Are we gonna be somewhere, maybe a 5% increase, or we had so much problems there, and it's, also, what are we gonna ask them to do that might be new? Now, if you want them to start taking in money, they may need an extra person or two there, because somebody's gonna have to now take in
Right.
money, make change, give change, so I guess some is what we're going to want to do, and then how are they going to charge, if they're going to be tasked with doing that.
So I was, had a conversation with Shane, and it seems like there were like some issues there, and I know that he's been working, with the police department to have a presence there from the times that, I've been kind of more kind of hot over there, like, pun intended, but like, so he's having some police presence there to support that. And just so I'm understanding what you're saying, is that we probably will wait to see what utilization looks like, and like where we can identify whatever the trends would be to say, okay, so we want to plan for this trend that we saw last year, that when 3:30 to 6:30 was the time where they had like more issues with people, so they're gonna have to staff it more there, so therefore their costs could reflect, okay.
I mean, we have a very good trend of what the other pools were, Front Street, Buckmush,
Right.
and Hillhurst was open in the old Central Park. We knew our chemical costs, we knew everything. And this is new for us now, this is a new pool.
Yep.
So we have to see what our true costs were, and, I know, we do have a police presence there now, most of the day. Is that gonna be something that's gonna be carried on next year? Because that's a cost, you're taking an officer off the street that would be on
Right.
patrol, or is it an officer that's on overtime? So, for those roughly 9 weeks, and we may say that this pool went so good, maybe it's opened earlier, maybe it's 10 weeks now. We opened a little early this year because it was new, and it was good to open because it was hot.
It was wicked hard.
If we have a year like this next year, are we gonna plan to open a week early, because that week is, everybody's paid the salaries and the chemicals and everything for an extra week. So, so there's a cost that we don't know the true cost yet. As soon as the pool closes, yes, we can figure it out, best we can. Chemicals be easy, I know what we're gonna purchase. But it's the staffing.
So I know there's also some preliminary conversation with the school district. I don't know if this was just kind of like a stopgap measure right now to see like, what the conversations have been, how to like, some of the district support staff have a presence there because they know students and they know some of the community members and can help kind of like alleviate some of that concern. I don't know if that's something that they're looking to do, maintain and move forward, or is that just like, hey, right now it's a good response, kind of all hands on deck, see what we can support people. And I also
Are we in those conversations? you mean?
So these conversations are between Boys and Girls Club and the school district. And I haven't necessarily been a part of those conversations either. I just was made aware of them. So I'm thinking that I don't know if that's like something that they're looking for longevity, or is that something that they're doing now?
And we have lifeguards, I don't know if we would call it like a pool monitor, somebody that, that the people using the pool can respect a little bit more. Because you realize, the lifeguards are young themselves, high school students, and,
And they're there for a very important job. They can't
Right.
have their attention in different
you
places.
you turn your back and somebody's arguing with you and something happens.
Yeah, that wouldn't be cool at all,
So,
that'd be
whether or not, and that's why I'm hoping at the end of this season, we talk to the Boys and Girls Club. And Shane says, hey, the lifeguard things were fine as long as we can concentrate on lifeguarding. Looking, make sure nobody, has an accident in the pool. But maybe there has to be a couple other people that walk around that are more the pool monitor to try and, like, the police officers right now, he's really, full monitor, trying to, if
Yeah,
there's
which
some.
is, I mean, to have a police officer that's, then we're taking somebody off the street,
Exactly.
which is so, so needed on the street. I actually didn't know that there was a police officer, so the police officer is there, all the time. Is it just at Central Park?
To Central Park, he's there more in the afternoon, that's where the problems are. But I see him go through, because I go through quite a bit, and they're going through just on their normal patrols, just.
Okay, so they're not stationed,
No, one
there's
is
not,
stationed,
oh,
one
one
is-
is stationed
They were on an on-call basis. There were some kids who were acting less than optimal, so we've upped the staffing, the presence there.
now. Okay,
Still someone on call, and not publicizing whether they're gonna be there or not, because then kids who are gonna act in a bad manner would adjust their schedule.
So I guess, one more point.
yeah, I wanna go back to the school.
Yeah, sure, no, yeah, please continue on your,
No, go ahead with the point that you.
So I also was thinking like about, if we're looking at utilization, I know that right now we're not capturing data like where people live. And I was saying, I know we're not capturing data for like where people are in the city or out of the city right now.
Well,
We're gonna look into
about
According
that,
to
yeah.
zip codes,
Zip
we
codes.
started that after the
Okay.
first few days or first week, so it's not exact, like Carmel's not
One can sit, be
One,
Niskayuna and Skinner.
12309 could be a
Right.
city, could be Niskayuna, 03 and 06 are also considered a Rotterdam.
Right. So I guess my point there was that if we're getting that information, and it might be, to the mayor's point, I mean, it might not be really, really concise data, but at least we can look at like, that data should drive like our decision around like charging people, right? So like, because if we have a lot of people that are coming from other communities, then we know that, we can charge them, and then it's a question of sustainability. So I'll just,
Yeah, we did ask Paul for that.
We asked him.
So he's gonna go and look at it a week out, and bring that report to us, just gonna see.
And being that
Resident, non-resident.
that we're having this conversation now, would it be a better data point to find out if they live in the city, not just their area code, so we can kind of get more concise? Like I would suggest that we just do that.
Yeah, I can see if we can start doing that.
I mean, again, I actually was gonna say the same thing, but again, know that, for example, I have friends that live in Niskayuna, but their snail mail address
Schenectady.
is Schenectady.
Yep.
So even that, like, somebody could write down Schenectady, but not necessarily be a city of Schenectady resident.
People every day go to the golf course and want to say they live in the city of Schenectady to pay the resident rate.
Right.
Wow.
So at the golf course, well, of course, it's adults, so they probably have, do they show driver's licenses
They-
or something?
Do a secondary level of validation where they live.
Years ago, I had to bring a NIMO bill
Yeah, that's.
over there to the Alamo to get my
Well,
badge,
it's-
years ago.
People who were generally viewed to be more than fluent, who were trying to get a dollar off their
Yeah.
golf.
And everybody wants to be from Schenectady anyway, let's
So I was
face
gonna
it.
say,
So
that's,
there's
yeah,
that.
yeah. Cause even, I mean, if there was a special ID, I mean, we talked about the student IDs from the school district, Damani, before you got here, but, Gary pointed out that I guess those get collected at the end of the year and then reissued in September, so that would be something that we have to do, if we wanted to use the school IDs, we'd have to be talking with the school district about some of this stuff. If that was the case. John?
Why don't we consider issuing an ID to use the pool? We charge them an administrative fee every year.
It's already on the books that there's a recreation ID or something, so that was one time used for the golf course, for tennis, for other
Yeah.
recreation facilities. We talk about the recreation fund, generally first, the only thing that really take money in is the golf course.
Right.
Its intent was more broad-based, it was set up.
I think by doing that with an ID, you kind of more control, you have control over it, because if you don't have an ID, you can't use the pool. A city issue ID, you pay your administrative fee, and you show up and use it with your picture ID and your address.
I think that's a great idea.
So
I mean,
it's
we
something that
have
we
it,
should consider, and it
Yeah.
will help, staff and
it definitely would.
everybody, it would be
Raise some
helpful.
costs.
We could set it up so that, you know, there was a certain time period that kids could, first of all, we could go to the schools. If we needed to, we could do it out at school, but I mean, we could do it right at the pool.
Yeah.
Where we take the picture and generate the ID.
Yeah, you can done right there. As they showed up, they issue
We do
the
it on
ID and you
computerized
charge
too,
them the
no
administrative
badges.
fee.
Yeah.
Right there.
Could be like the week before the pool's
There's a
gonna
cost for
open.
that too.
Yeah, that's
No,
what I'm
I
saying,
know, all
administrative
this
fee.
would have to go
Yes.
into a budget.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I think that we really can't, you know, it's gonna be a 2025.
Because there are days that you know, if you keep track even of the turnover of the pool, you know, it's 400, but you look at, there's been 1,000 people in the pool for the day. That's 1,000 IDs. And you do that, you know, 7 days, if that was like that, I think it's 7,000 IDs you could be making. So, I mean, it just,
Well, some of those duplicate.
It's gonna, yeah,
The
it's
second
it's
day,
cycle.
so they're-
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna come back with an ID.
But
Yeah, but you'd have to add in, you know, I mean, if we're doing this, I mean, are we going to also do it for the other pools? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not just,
Okay.
I mean, if they get a recreational ID, they're getting that recreational ID for all, you know what I mean? It's like one card, but I mean, you know, it would be, are they,
Could be.
because right now, I don't think they show anything, right, at
they have to have an ID to get it.
Yeah.
at Quackenbush?
Yeah, because it's the same thing. The lifeguards need to know who's in the pool.
Okay, so they are, like, they're signing, you know, I never, all the times going up there,
We can,
I never saw
we
that.
can have the ID general to use, city pools,
It'd be kind of a, I bet you
Just
to know it'd be
charge
kind
them,
of a
yeah.
cool thing, I mean, like.
resident, non-resident, we charge them a fee for that ID.
But if it's on the computer, like at your doctor's office, you give your name, all of a sudden it pops up my picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't have to carry anything, but you know they're gonna lose it 1,000 times.
because I was thinking that if it's likely to be a couple different acceptable forms of ID. Because what we want to do is we want to be really intentional about increasing access to the facility. We want the kids to be able to do it. So when we talk about any costs that people have to incur, then we have to take into consideration of, you know, some of our residents who might not have, you know, their cousin or someone with a pool or something like that, and they might not have that money to access the pool, so we want to make sure that they can do it. We also would have to consider the fact that there's a lot of students that live in Schenectady but go to charter schools or, you know, or private schools or even home tutoring, to where a student ID, if we're using the Schenectady City School District, wouldn't be applicable for, right? But I think that if, like, no different than the DMV, like, you know, you have like a list of acceptable things, like maybe like a school report card or something that we can say, okay, this proves that you live in the city of Schenectady, and then we can generate whatever thing that idea how that's gonna look. Then, you know, I would just say, let's just be mindful about, like, not everyone has, you know, it's gonna have a student ID, and obviously my main thing is not everyone's gonna have money to
Again, I think we were talking about residents basically being free.
Right. Mm-hmm. But I just heard administrative.
That's the reason why I brought it up in a general ID, so that way you don't have to walk with your utility bill, or you don't have one, you don't get access, you have a general ID, and you have access. So we centralize everything across all the pools. I mean, we charge a fee for that, I mean, it's like, you know, it's more.
You charge
control.
non-residents or residents if you, that's the question.
To get the
To
ID.
issue the ID is gonna cost us, so we have to pass that cost back to everybody. And they would have to renew it every year.
I mean, we might be able to, again, I feel like a little bit like we're getting ahead of ourselves, but I mean, in that particular case, we also can, I mean, the idea of talking with the school district is, maybe the school district helps to foot a bill for X number of IDs for their students. I don't know if that would
Well,
fly,
they're
but I'm just saying, I
already
mean,
putting the idea out, it's how do you get away from duplicate? So if you had kids that have a city school district ID, we accept that. And as Councilman Farley's pointed out, some kids may not have that, so how do you fill the gap with that? So, you still may make it accessible, so you have to pay $2 to get it, and it's valid for so many years. I think that $2 would probably cover our processing costs.
I think the county did something like with the library cards, right, where like, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm saying like, I know like the county did something like to where the library cards, the cost of a library card, was greatly reduced, and then at one point you can go get a library card at no cost.
We don't charge money for our library cards.
Right.
I can't remember if there's a replacement cost if I lose no, actually, there is not a cost, because I actually did have to go in and get a new card recently, and I wasn't charged for that. But what we did was get rid of the fines, as well. We have no fines for overdue books.
Right, so I'm just,
That was us eliminating a barrier,
Right.
to access, because we wanted to make sure that kids were,
Huge.
and adults,
right,
we're doing that. There is still a replacement cost if you have a book that gets lost.
sure.
There is a replacement cost for that. But I like the school ID. I hear what you're saying, but I guess, and again, it would need a little bit more research, but when I think about like Destin Prep, they probably have school IDs. You know what I mean?
Yes,
They probably have some sort of ID for their own students or a Catholic school, like,
We don't have IDs.
they don't have IDs.
But the idea, right, so, and so,
There's
we're
money
saying
involved
the
there.
same thing, I'm not saying either or, I'm saying yes and, like let's, if the school district can be a resource that where kids are getting this anyway, then it's like, cause if you have Schenectady City School District ID, you live in the city of Schenectady, right?
I mean, that would be.
Right, so that might cover, I don't know, 90% of our students. Then we're only working with maybe that 10% of the school population that live in, that are come visit in the pool, and maybe only 5% of them go to a different school. So it's like, we're just building some things so, we can accept different forms based on what people's situation is. But I'm really, my largest concern would be that charging people, even residents, kids to get in the pool, how do we avoid that if we can, obviously, because I just want to.
I mean, I think Doreen pointed something out at the beginning of the meeting also, which is that, for example, if I had somebody visiting from out of town, a niece or, brings their 2 children, I'd want to get those kids in too. So in that sense, it's me showing my ID as a resident, and then paying perhaps for non-residents that I'm bringing with me, to enter into the pool. In that case, it's not a school ID, but that's easy, right? I mean, I've got my driver's license or, something else. Some of the other pools do have, for example, like a fob kind of thing, but that would be expensive, I think, to have to create something like that and give out a fob to kids. I don't know, what do you think?
Probably, again, like our city IDs, our ability to be encrypted so that they can be used for access. So those, I don't know what the cost for a blank is. It's minimal.
Well,
The county allows 3 non-resident guests per resident.
yes, that's right. There's, some of these have, I guess what I'm gonna need you all to do is take a look at these.
Less than 7.
We'll have to have another meeting,
Lots of times, and it's free when you drive in.
because this is too much, this is really too much to absorb all at once, but you can see the differences. I was gonna try to figure out how to, what's the word? Take this information and kind of make a chart for you, but I'm not exactly the.
But I think we're all in agreement that there really shouldn't be a resident charge, but I do like a recreational fee for the ID with certain circumstances of not being, you got 10 kids, $10 is a lot of money, and it could be looked at on a family basis, but for a couple of bucks just to cover the cost of something.
There's, on the books is a fee to play at the tennis courts.
Right.
We don't charge that because it's costing us more to collect the money than what the people were paying. Do you go back and do an annual charge of $10 or something for people?
And like you say, our encrypted thing, I mean, they have to have that to even open the gates to the tennis courts, I'm just saying, right?
That's possible, but you have one person that has
Lets
capacity,
everybody else in.
let everybody in. fees.
But, yeah,
Colony has the fob for their pool. If you're
Right.
18 or over, you can get a fob at no charge at the Colony Town Hall. So,
Yeah, that one's in here, I have,
Yeah.
in here.
And not to get off pools, but, you know, I had a meeting with regards to pickleball today. And the same thing, we took some ideas, Brian Can and I, and Richard Unger, and about signs, the rules and regulations for pickleball. And whether or not would the council end up setting fees for pickleball, or is that just gonna be, the questions came up, I don't know, you know, I mean, that's, you know, we have fees, like the mayor said, for tennis, we have trouble, you know, to staff somebody there to try to collect the fees. You know, we don't know if we get all the fees, from the season that sits there. And some residents are very adamant that, they're not paying a fee, they said. They came right up to me and told me, I'm a taxpayer, I'm not paying a fee.
For the pickleball courts.
No, for tennis courts, so.
Oh, for the tennis
And we,
courts.
you know, in 2022, council approved a resolution that set fees for resident, non-resident, not-for-profit,
Oh, yeah.
and a commercial entity. But, you know,
There's not really anybody there collecting those fees.
no, you know, and how do you tell somebody your hour's up, we need another $15? Yeah, it's just,
and with pickleball, because I played this winter down at the Y, and that's where the Mohawk Pickleball Club plays, and then they moved their outdoor session to.
That's
Hill-
Rich Unger, right?
Right,
Yes.
Rich Unger, and I'm like, they're like, but if I showed up and I'm not a member of the league, I could put you put your pass there. You know
yeah,
what
it's
I mean?
like, yeah.
So they rotate you in, but still, I'm a resident, I show up with John and Josh, and I wanna play, but we can't play together because you have to be rotated in.
That's
Do
what
we
talked
charge that
about.
Mohawk, do we charge them to use those?
No.
It's brand new.
No.
You know, we discussed it today, and I said, but it's a public park, if somebody wants to play, you know, there is the, you know, good sportsman where if you're on there, I know, regular pickleball, you know, lasts anywhere from 15 minutes, you know, up to 11.
Unless you're playing me, it's 3 minutes.
Because
I'm good.
you know, and then when you get off the court to let somebody else play,
No.
and you know, I said, I can't have anybody dominate it, and, you know.
I, again, this is just hearsay, but I definitely have heard that perhaps that particular league is kind of dominating those courts and are kind of,
That's their home
like they
court.
own those courts.
That's their home court now.
So,
And,
Mohawk Valley Pickleball Club.
you know, I said,
I
we'll
know.
get some basic signs, and we'll do some things, but if
I
we
knew
start
2
getting
people on
complaints.
there from Schenectady, everybody else is from Glenville.
oh yeah, no,
There's
I,
over 200 members.
even when we were starting to talk about those courts, I mean, we got a hard time from him in particular because we were putting them up there and not down in the stockade. And it was like, you know, I said, Rich, we're talking like a 5-minute drive or something. I mean, it's not like, we can't do everything.
And the real issue going forward is, we got this great swimming facility, you got the great A-diamond,
Great pickleball courts.
pickleball's there, music cables
Music
there.
there. It's a
We
good
have to
problem.
have some money coming in for routine maintenance and some of the staffing issues. It's not like we're gonna make
Right.
huge amounts of money on it, but to maintain the level of quality so that people can enjoy it, it's gotta be a little revenue.
He said that it's, you know, the way the courts were designed there, you don't walk behind other players, ball never leaves the court, and everybody loves how Hillhurst was designed, and
Oh yeah, they love it.
they love it up
They
there.
love it.
It's sort of like, you know, the A-diamond, it's like our golf course now, everybody comes to play golf here.
That's right.
The
Well,
good
that's-
the good problems to have, right?
Right.
But
Right.
it's still
We
like how.
have, we have like just high-class facilities in all these situations, but
Tennis is booked constantly on my phone between USTA and 15 Love, they're just there constantly. And, you know, those courts need some work, because they want to stay there, and they bring people in from all over.
at least USTA now, they gave us a break on the, on something. I remember when Chris Wallen presented to us, what were they
Well, they're.
giving us money or they're giving us a?
They're contributing, at this point, $500,000 toward the upgrades of the facility.
Yeah. So,
But you have to remember, it sounds impressive, they have a revenue stream to support that, so they've got a big following, people want to come here, people
Yeah.
want to, take advantage of that facility. So, again, we want to work with them, we want to make it happen.
Right, we don't want to discourage it, but.
Right. So where do we go from here, guys, in terms of, I mean, I feel like I need you guys to take a look at this stuff and sort of come up with the best of what it is. I mean, we've got time because, like we said, well, what we don't have time for is we need to make sure that the budget for 2025 is going to include, whatever we need. But in terms of like, I mean, at this point, I want to hear how you guys feel, but I don't think we can necessarily like change rules right now when there's probably like, a month and a half left
I agree.
of
There's only
weather
5
for.
weeks left, yeah.
Yeah,
We can't add anything now, I don't believe.
No, I think
Maybe
we'll have to
some-
modify our signs.
Maybe some
for
no
next
smoking,
season.
next
smoking
season,
or vaping signs.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
there's
Oh, it
no
does-
smoking
there's no
in the
smoke.
park, there's no smoking in the pool area.
I know,
People are not necessarily compliant with
I
that.
know.
and that's
And
where I
the
think
no
the kids are
parking
probably
on
having a hard
the
time
lawn signs,
enforcing stuff like
The
that.
guys that are
lifeguards.
working up
I'm
there
sorry, what
tell
did-
me that, the no parking on the lawn signs. The guys up there tell me they're constantly asking people not to park on the lawn and being threatened and who's gonna go, because, anyway,
Wow.
they're looking for no parking on the lawn signs.
Yeah,
And no smoking or vaping, or that is their,
Well, that, is that,
yeah, because that's not on the sign, it says no alcohol, no glass, no coolers, no knives, no firearms. And
so
so,
there's nothing about smoking?
The smoking
Well,
is
that's-
generic to the park.
part of
Well,
it's in
yeah,
the city code.
but, I mean, people are smoking all over the park. I mean, believe me,
It's not,
I was in such a bad mood at the music haven when I was in the concession stand 2 weeks ago that I literally like went up to people. I was like heading towards people to like grab their cigarettes and
Don't
somebody
grab
else.
them.
No, I know, but somebody else cut me. A different volunteer like got there first and said, "Sorry, you cannot be smoking here." So I said, "Yes." I turned around and went back into the concession stand, but.
I know individuals too have problems with those cabanas, people are putting up cabanas, those tents.
They should be,
It
they
can't be on the inside.
can't be
Inside, so people are claiming like their little 4x4 with the,
But
Because there
I've
is no
actually seen
shade.
those tents.
yeah, and I've
Are they
seen.
for the infant one? Because I know in Myrtle Beach, because my grandkids are, you can't have any, you can only have the umbrella that they, but
Well,
there's
that's
a rule
another
that you
thing,
can have
umbrella.
there's an infant tent if you have.
No,
a-
these are- I'm
These are
bringing it in,
like
but-
tent tents.
Yeah.
They should not be.
And also umbrellas, because on a windy day, they don't secure them, here comes the umbrella up out of the ground, I've seen lots of people with umbrellas. I agree, I mean, the shade,
There's no place to secure them unless you put it through our astroturf, which would be a
well,
problem.
that's what,
Right.
I've seen umbrellas
So you
there.
have to hold it. Right. So I agree with.
So there
Bob.
would be,
We have
you know,
to collect that.
next season comes,
Just on
a lot of
signs,
different rules,
Right.
some of the signage that we're gonna have to either modify, take a sign down, we do it in-house, modify the sign so that, the basic rules, but there could be a list of maybe 16 or 20 rules that are there to be followed. We'll work on that, during the season, and have it all ready, it's just whatever, is decided upon, look for all the rules and regulations.
In terms of timing, I mean, in terms of like actually coming up with pool rules, which would again, I just want to reiterate, that would be across the pools of Schenectady, not just the Central Park, although the hours would be different because of the laps and, that kind of thing. We have time, right? I mean, we probably wouldn't need to like sort of finalize something like that.
No, I mean, the signs should.
February?
Well,
big one.
no, you can move at your own pace, you have to have some level of control, be able to manage the facilities so that it's within my prerogative to do some things, and most things looking to do is what I call common sense, it's not
Right.
like you need an act of Congress to get
Okay.
people to, but you will get people who will challenge it and say, where's the sign that
That's
says I can't smoke? Well, it's over on Wright Avenue when you come in.
Yeah.
It's in the city code.
Well, I mean, that's up to, I mean, what do folks feel? I mean, we can either, you know, take a look at this and try to come up with a broader list, and try to get signs up. It sounds like that's what you would actually want to have happen, or?
Well, yeah, the other thing, I want something that's more standardized, so
Right.
there might be some modifications for Quackenbush or Front Street, but it's gotta kind of make sense on a citywide basis so that
Right.
you don't get people shifting from one place to the other to find a loophole or create a problem.
No, I completely agree with that.
And whatever rules you put up, you'll still get people who will try and work an angle or something, you know, it's golf course, we post, you can't bring alcohol on
Outside,
the golf course, but
you can buy it.
people
Oh, yeah, sneak it
bring
on.
their
Bring their
containers
own.
in, or stick it in their golf bag or whatever, and, you know, it's, the one isolated thing isn't necessarily an issue, you get more and more people doing it, and you get people who tend to make poor choices where you get litter, you get them doing other things that are just inappropriate.
I'd like to see no smoking and vaping signs at all of our parks, because I stopped bringing Ella to South Park because I was getting in so many arguments over there. And I didn't want to get into a altercation. Because
I don't know where it is, the FDA said that they would provide us signs for the entire park system. You know, Michelle was following up on that, so they would need things that are kind of standardized at
Right.
a national level.
Sure.
And I think they have some of the educational components in it to, you know, tell people the reason why shouldn't be smoking, shouldn't be vaping, shouldn't be.
Yeah.
That probably the woman that comes,
Jeannie,
Tobacco.
Jeannie,
Tobacco coalition.
yeah,
I
the
would
tobacco,
say
she
the
probably
capital
has,
region.
has stuff like that also.
They do have sign in the past, they had partnered with us and provide
They
signs.
did provide some, this
Yeah.
was the federal government, I was trying to scrounge money wherever we can.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We're successful sometimes.
So we should reach out to them and try to get some signs from them.
But I would like to see it maybe that education component, because that's kind of like what they're charged with. And if we can engage some of our younger people in the community to participate in that, maybe even in that signage piece, like therefore, you know, we can kind of be leveraging their mission, and there's some education, and then you get some buy-in from the community too, if people are part of the process. So maybe we just talk to them about, like, maybe there's a community project that we want to work with them on around signage for that.
elementary school poster contest.
Yeah,
no
something like that,
smoking and vaping.
that can engage students, so I mean, you want
Mary,
me
do you
to
have
initiate
any,
that conversation, I can.
Restroom monitors? Anything, I know there's been a lot of flushing, and, I mean,
We increased the, I think one of the problems was the fixtures that were there were low flow, let's say water.
okay,
And we moved to a higher rate to take some of the debris that goes down.
Because I know I heard about there was one issue that I heard about with somebody sticking something down.
There was a piece of rebar in there, which could have came during construction, it just could have fell in there,
Right.
just didn't get noticed, and,
with
it was
diapers,
removed.
feminine products, things
So we
like
did
that.
put more of the high rate fixtures in.
Good man.
Have we been having any problems with diapers or anything like that in the restrooms?
Now, people still put wipes in and, we're checking, in fact, when I was up there this afternoon, one of the guys from the wastewater plant was checking the new sump pumps that they have up there. So it's just more now a maintenance thing, and, there are just certain items that shouldn't go in a club. They're just,
I know, are there signs like there are in any public restroom on?
haven't looked in the ladies' room.
Okay. I
So we
actually
seem
did
to have
go, but I
more-
can't remember now.
Yes.
More of the problems are in the women's bathrooms.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, so,
I'll check that out also. Because those signs, I mean, those are just in terms of going to a restaurant and
But
see
make
those
sure
signs.
there's receptacles there, that you
Yeah.
have a choice to put them in if they're not.
so what happens is they bring a young baby in and they're changing the diaper, and they're just throwing something in the toilet bowl. And if it doesn't get flushed, the next person who's in there throwing more stuff. And then there's a point where it can't take all that, you know? It's, you know, if you're gonna use it, it's gotta be flushed. But you can't just put a lot of material in there. You know, wipes that you use on the end, you know, babies and stuff to clean them off in a diaper, they gotta go into a can. But not everybody.
So I mean, I think the other thing is the whole, you know, a child of a certain age has to be accompanied by an adult. I mean, we don't have that posted, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we do have that
That is on one of those sites, yes.
Okay, what is the age that we have? I can look it up myself.
13, I was there
Yeah.
today.
They actually have, it is,
So under 13.
2 more adults 18 years old must be present at the pool and used with at least 1 adult on the pool deck. Children less than 16 years old must at all times be accompanied by a parent or guardian or similar adult responsible for their safety and behavior while at a bathing facility. Shower waters, yeah. And there's gonna be some things that have to be modified because, you know, when we first started, we thought, you know, what is the good age? I mean, a lot of 13-year-olds don't want to be with their mother at the pool. You know, it's just, you know, so somebody's gonna have to decide, you know, what is the appropriate age level for a youth to be at the pool. You know, I mean,
You read the swim test in there, a lot of, like, even Lake Luzerne, a lot of people have to pass a
That's what we can,
little
depending
paddle
on
test.
partnership.
I'd have been a
Boys
little
and Girls
embarrassed
Club.
if I was 13 and grew up at the pool, my mother was standing there watching me and just.
Yeah, that would work.
I probably would have gone to the pool that day.
Now, this one, Albany definitely has children under the age of 13. And if they have to leave the water and sit on the pool deck until their parents have returned. But again, I mean, I come back to, we have to talk to Shane as well into these discussions because, I mean, we gotta make sure that the kids are comfortable
We can pull,
enforcing these rules, you know? I mean, that's the,
we
But
can
he
pull some of the
doesn't-
things out of the, you know, what you've provided to see where
Okay.
they're allowing things. Again, I think what we
I
want
would
to
appreciate
avoid is
that.
just people dropping, you know, kids off and leaving. I mean, when I was young, I grew up Park Pool. I don't think they really cared who was there with you. I mean, there was young kids there. I mean, you know, we just walked from Stuyvesant Homes and you
Right.
took your little brother with you and you kind of watched them at the kiddie pool while you were in the bigger pool. But, I mean, you know, times are different now and,
yes.
you know, so it's, you know, what do we feel is, is a safe age to have somebody there where, you know, and how many, you know, during the week, how many parents, they're working?
Well,
How
right.
many can really, you know, so 16's, I think 16's kind of old, and, you know, but it's not my decision, it's something that we all have to be comfortable with, that we feel is safe, and with Boys and Girls Clubs help too.
I apologize, I should have thought of that, I should have probably, thought about having the Boys and Girls Club.
Well, we knew
Be a
this
part
was
of
gonna
this
be a
discussion.
one and done thing, so.
Oh, no, I know, I just
So
wanted
you're
to get
fine,
the
right?
ball, I just
Yeah.
wanted to get the
No, I think
ball
it's important to
started.
When I spoke to Shane, he really didn't know too much because he hasn't been there.
Right,
So,
Julie is,
right,
oh yeah, Julia's there, is she Director of Education, I think?
yeah, and she's, you know, she's at the pool quite a bit, she
When I was
was there this afternoon and is there. And, you know, she could give us some, you know, some guidance and, you know, after being there, you know, 16, right age, 14, and 13, I mean, you know, I think we'll have, it'll be a lot better place next year when the pool opens.
So should we, I guess my question is, when do you want to get together again to think about this? I mean, obviously, do we need to do something that's gonna go for the rest of the summer? I'm feeling, no, I just want to get an agreement on that.
The real point of contention is going to be a fee structure. So what are you gonna charge basically non-residents? Having said that, are there scenarios where you charge some residents for preferred swim times or other things for the people that are going in? There may be some of those scenarios you wanna look at. But the core of having kids from the city out using these facilities should be done at the most minimal cost so that they're
Absolutely.
basically going in for free.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, Niskuna, it's kind of high, I think. I mean,
How much do they charge?
they're charging $10 for an adult, 13 years and
Is that for
over.
a season?
It's not,
Is every time you go?
$25 pass.
No, that's a daily rate. They have at Niskuna, they have season pass rates and they have daily rates. And so, yes, I mean,
$314 for a year.
for a family
Yeah.
that's in the same household, it doesn't say that there's a size to that.
None at all. Just two
If you
adults.
wanted to go in and do lap swim, it's $115 for the whole season. But then they have daily rates, and I mean, the children under 2 years are free. 2 years to 12 years, it's $6, and so that would be like literally every time somebody went to the pool, a kid, they'd be paying $6 per kid. So, I mean,
Probably are hoping that they're gonna come get the season pass so they could.
yeah, no, I'm sure that that's what they're trying to do, they're trying to
Six
sell the
Flags,
season
you know,
pass.
They want you to buy the season pass because they know you're not gonna come every day.
They also, I mean, I felt that this was a little complicated. They have 3 different seasons even. They have early season, regular season, and late season, and they charge different, they have different hours depending on the season.
But then there's
And they
one-
even have a late season, if you only are going August 5th through Labor Day, you only have to pay half price for those seasons. Obviously, I mean, you're not there for the whole season, but whew, I mean, I think that's kind of complicated.
Most of the pools in there, school ends and, or, you know,
Labor Day.
Labor Day, the end of August, or, because most of your staff are high school students or college students, they're going back to school. You
Right.
don't have the staff now.
That's
to,
right. You have to close it. Yeah, I mean, the Colony Town Pool, they do the fobs, and you have to have a resident key fob, and you apply for it at no charge from a recreation office, and you have to show the key fob in order to use the town pool. You know, so that's, I guess, I need you guys to kind of absorb this stuff and pick out, you know, stuff that you think.
So I guess moving forward next year, most importantly too, is what we might need to put into the budget for next year.
Well, right, that's,
Rising costs of chemicals and extra staff from the Boys and Girls Club, depending on what we want.
So are we thinking that we'll submit kind of like, once we look through this, then individually we'll submit like what we think our ideal thing would be, or should it be like a shared Google Doc, like or a working document with everyone? I mean, just.
you could do that, I would have to figure out how to do that, but
No,
I think better would be
because-
to do exactly how you started out. I would ask that folks take a look at this and maybe submit, you can either, I guess, submit them to me, what are some of the key rules that you, Paul, could you send me that photo that you took today? Because I don't have that, I only have the outside one I went up and took. Does that sound good?
Are you talking about fee structure or are you talking about rules?
I would say both, both. 'Cause I gave you as much information as I could find for all of these different pools, so you have quite a bit of data.
Non-residents and,
What?
I don't, and if we want non-residents in, if we do, what their fee structure is. It might be interesting to see who's coming.
So that would be good too if we could get some of that data, but again, we won't have the whole season until the end of August, right? I mean, I think we should wait until we have the full data.
I mean, we're doing a review of our budgets and, you know, in the parks, we can estimate some things and finalize it prior to when the budget's gonna be finalized, but, yeah, I mean, for sure on this pool, the more data we have, and talking to the Boys and Girls Club, the better. You know, because we'll have more of an accurate cost.
I think the fee structure is kind of one thing, and obviously the cost of you have a pretty good handle on that.
Well, that's,
But I was thinking that like for the rules, we want to kind of go into this knowing that this is going to be kind of a living thing that we're going to have to, we should just give ourselves the ability to have some autonomy to say, you know what, we thought this was a really good idea, but it turns out it's not, and this is the reason now for those things that might not be able to foresee as far as rules go. So I just don't, we should know that this isn't gonna be written in stone, because we wanna be able to be responsive to the, the needs of the community, so.
I agree with you to a certain extent, but I mean, we do have to have some things that, I mean, if we're gonna print signs, if somebody's gonna come to us to get an ID, we wanna be able to hand them. I mean, I'm pretty sure that we do that with dog, when I get my dog license.
Oh, new stuff going on there.
What?
New structure, dog licensing. Just saying.
I still can't get them to drive, it's really unbelievable to me, every time I get the renewal on the dog license, they still don't know how to drive. But I'm just saying, I mean, obviously, when we give somebody an ID or whatever it is that we're gonna use as our form, I really like the idea of a recreational ID.
I don't think that we're gonna be like, you know what, vaping's okay, like we're not gonna like change like certain things, there are some core things that we know that like are likely not to change, I'm just thinking like around like.
Maybe we can get the school district to put on their ID that it is a city recreation ID. And then
Maybe it's just a cost of a sticker or something.
and people
That's
who
right.
don't have that, like, adults or other people who want it, we charge them, the processing fee is to get it. It's part
And
of it.
since you have fees for tennis, what if you did a tiered recreational fee? I mean, some people like to swim, some people like to play tennis and pickleball. If you're gonna use all the city's facilities, there's a price for this. If you're just a kid that wants to go swimming, maybe it's at a certain age, the yearly price is, I don't know, $10 for the whole year. But, we got people playing pickleball, we have to play tennis. Maybe it's tiered setup where, this is a full recreational pass. And it allows you to, pickleball and everything.
I
and
agree.
Yeah,
And
Of course.
something different for just swimmers. Because that's a short season. Pickleball, they're out there. If it's nice in April, they're out there.
Yeah.
If it's
Oh,
nice
yeah.
in November, they're there. The same
Yeah.
with tennis, they're out there till we take the nets down.
Yeah,
The swimming too is a staffing issue. We don't hire kids, I can remember kids, when they come in, they wanna work for the city for the rest of their lives. This is in May, they want this job. Well, August 1st, I gotta take time off now. I gotta leave early to go back to
it's
school.
college, I mean,
Just,
yeah.
And so we have trouble, after that first week in August, it starts to be a staffing
slow
issue.
down.
Yeah,
Where it's been hot, whatever, we just have to have the minimum, and Central Park is the last pool we close, so Front Street will get closed, shutting down at Quackenbush, moving people to Central Park. There'll be times when we're probably gonna have to limit attendance at the pool, because we won't have the lifeguards.
Right.
right.
One question before, so I was thinking with the school district, what about the sheriff's department? You know how they do the fingerprinting? You can work it into fingerprinting, city ID kind of thing, they're always out there. I just put that out there because of school and this and that, so.
that's a good suggestion from Paul, with a general ID, we just single it out for tennis, pickleball.
We need to get a little bit more revenue because you use
Yeah.
everything. And
So that way you kind of like more control, because if you don't have that ID, you can't show up at either one of those facilities.
Well, no one's enforcing it though, at pickleball.
That's-
We're gonna have to start putting some resource there.
Because the tennis
Right.
thing drives me crazy in terms of not getting the money.
Those are the facilities we need to protect them.
But even if it was this, an ID that had a sticker or something, I mean, it could be like a tennis racket, a pool, you know what I mean? Like, and the fee structure, when you go, I guess, to city clerk,
So.
I don't know, wherever you'd be getting the ID, you'd have that, this is gonna let you use the pickleball courts, this is gonna let you use the
Yeah.
tennis courts. I don't know, so we still have to do more. Is it something where, you guys wanna make recommendations to us, or what should be our next step? Should we, obviously, I think we need to all look through this stuff, come up with our own.
Just the pool upgrade.
Yeah, I wanna focus on the pool right now, but that recreational ID, I think, is a good one, good suggestion for,
So,
That's already in the books.
Yeah.
That's just.
And maybe it's just, it's recreational idea, it's just for everything. The pool, I mean, because we've got 5 weeks left in the pool.
Yeah.
And, even if we started doing some signs, we're not gonna be sure what we truly want, so the signs that are there, we're gonna.
I agree.
And, the mayor said the biggest, I'll say hurdle, the biggest is what you decide to set for fees or resident versus non-resident, and I don't have any recommendations.
So I guess I would ask you guys to, again, Doreen, Damani, John will take your input because you're sitting here, but if you would send me your thoughts, maybe in a couple of weeks, by a couple of weeks, to send me your thoughts on the fees, on any of these rules that you see. Because we have to obviously have a larger report back to city council as well. And you have to tell me, because this is the first time I'm holding a committee meeting, but I know I have to get, we have to have a written report, to present a report, we have to have a written report that these guys, at least 2 of the 3 of us have to sign off on or something, is that the case?
No,
For a
that's-
committee?
that's it, no.
No, we can just do a report?
Continue to meet.
Well, usually the clerk's office prepares the minutes and members sign it.
Okay, great. Marion had told me
Well,
that we didn't have a,
Right,
sign
at
off
our-
by at least 2 of the people.
No, if you were to do a committee report.
at our council
On the
meeting.
council
That's what I
meeting.
mean.
Yeah, what do you mean? It's the most
Yes,
stupid thing I've heard. And
she told me I can no longer give
the chair,
reports. Yeah.
once upon a time, the chair was required to give a report.
Yeah.
That's,
So Josh will give us minutes, and we don't have to, we can just report on it at the next.
you could walk out of this meeting, go up to the meeting upstairs and recap what you've done at this meeting.
Interesting, okay.
Anybody's telling you different than
Yeah.
that should be here.
I don't know, I know that we're talking about our new fee structure, and I know the department head, they're providing their new proposal to us. Why don't you help us in that way, kind of like, okay, let's look at what is it costing us right now to operate this pool? Maybe a month out or thing, and then we can factor that over,
I can look at some things, I know.
so that would help with kind of like how, the fee, as to like, okay, it's costing us X amount.
Yeah. I don't
Because it
think
would help us
residents
probably
could
with the new
afford
fee
what it
proposal.
costs.
Well, no, I know
Getting
that
those
you can
numbers.
give us some data to,
Yeah,
we're gonna need it anyway when we do the
I
budget.
got another thing.
When they'll give us a budget, but
When
I'm
he
just.
does it, but
yeah.
I think residents probably couldn't afford what it
well,
really costs.
that's
to
just
run
an
that pool.
update, where we're meeting with the department
Right.
heads for the new
So
fee
Some of the
structure.
costs have shifted.
Yeah.
So we're pumping more water at the pool. That doesn't necessarily mean our overall cost has gone up.
Right.
We used to have to pump more water for the Central Park pool
That
at the
little one.
wellheads.
Yeah.
And so the electric costs are gonna show up like we're spending more at the pool, but will our overall electric costs go up? They're probably gonna go up this summer only because it's a hot summer and people use more water, so it's not necessarily gonna be solely the swimming pool. But we may not have the ability to break that down. Some of the chemical costs are up more, Paul's looking at ways, how do you manage that, how do you mitigate things, and some of the recommendations that were made may not be the most cost effective.
Well,
I think we should have a recommendation from the police staff, kind of give guidance on, yeah.
We need to
We'll give you as much information on whatever we have, so that you know
Those big tablets.
what the trend is, where it is, and the first year is always a little more by trial and error.
We're off to a good start.
well, so, if I could ask, maybe by, August 7th, if you guys would just get me, after you absorb this stuff, and just send me some thoughts. Based on what our conversation was today, because Paul's work is gonna come to us.
Right.
As we start the budget season, we'll hear about the costs and the expenses for, all of the recreation, not just the
Correct.
pool.
We knew our costs, in previous years with the 3 pools, even the 4 pools when Culver's was open. So they were pretty steady. The only thing that would fluctuate is we don't control the chlorine or the sodium hypochlorite. So this pool doesn't use sodium hypochlorite, it uses what's called packet taps. So you know, that's a little new for us. There's just a
Yeah.
range tabs, goes in a feeder like you have, other people have their own pool. So,
All right, it looks like we're, I appreciate everybody being here, and it looks like we need to head upstairs, relatively soon. It's like 6:48, I think.
Do you need to adjourn anything?
6:49,
Yes,
oh, yes,
absolutely.
so can I have a motion to
So
adjourn?
moved.
Okay, second? Okay, all in favor? Thank you. And Josh, you'll get us minutes when you can.
How are you doing today?
Did you get that August
Nice to see you
7th for them
again.
to give me input?
You can pull the transcript from the WebEx.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, take it from there. It'll be easier for you, Josh.
thank you, Josh.
Yeah, from that.
I appreciate it. So, if I could just, when she calls for committee reports tonight, should I say the Health and Recreation Committee met and
Yeah, you can just say you met earlier today and, just summarize what you're
just
gonna
as,
summarize. And then, you can, if it comes to a point, you just take the transcript from Josh and just submit it this week.
These are just notes.
Yeah,
yeah, that's fine.
For committee meetings,
And I'm out of, I'm on vacation as of tomorrow.
but what you should do, just because,
Because with committee meetings, the minutes for the committee meeting are not the same as the council meeting.
yeah,
It's not like a notate of everything that's said. It's kind of just what happened, who was here.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
what you should do, just give, Miriam a heads up, that you will just give a summary, and you will have the transcript, later.
I mean, I think
Yeah, sure.
she,
No, just tell her you're gonna have, you're gonna submit the transcript when Josh, provided to you.
okay,
Yeah, but just give a brief of what, the meeting today.
okay.